What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Naruto Explain here, and today we're going to be having another discussion on Shikamaru Shinen Morning Clouds. And I gotta say again, if you stumble across this video by accident, make sure you go to the homepage, check out the Naruto light novel section of the actual channel. But with that being said though, if you're still here, I'm assuming that you're all caught up with Shikamaru Shinen Morning Clouds. So in today's edition, we got something that's a bit of a doozy right here. We have a little bit of a glimpse into the very complicated relationship of Naruto and Shikamaru. And the reason why it's a little bit of a complicated relationship is that, you know, Naruto is in one of those situations where we actually get the really good chance to see how much this man has grown. So if we all remember 12-year-old Naruto, 12-year-old Naruto wasn't just an idiot. He was the biggest idiot in the entire series. Like, the only person that might be dumber than Naruto was those two filler characters that happened in the Search of Tsunade arc, two idiot brothers. I can't remember their name. It's after they find Tsunade and you got like those two big idiots. That's the only people that's dumber than Naruto at this point. So essentially, we've seen Naruto just completely grow. We saw him in the war arc and Naruto was kind of winging it, but he was coming up with good strategies as things were going on. It was kind of one of those things where like Naruto was so stupid that he was actually brilliant. Well, as we get to Naruto as Hokage, Naruto's Hokage is actually a lot sharper than even Shikamaru gives him credit for, because this whole time Shikamaru's kind of plotting and slinking and slithering in the shadows and everything, and he's like, yo, I'm gonna allow Shojoji to kidnap Tento, and I'm gonna use the fact that we rescued Ikkyo's son as a way to get this man to do exactly what I want. The whole time that he's doing this stuff, Naruto in the back of his mind's been keeping tabs on what Shikamaru's doing. Now, when I say he's been keeping tabs on him, it's not like Naruto's using shadow clones and chakra suppression jutsu. It's not that. It's not that. It's one of those things to where like Naruto, when you work with somebody, as long as Naruto and Shikamaru have worked with one another, it's one of those things where you pick up on the subtle changes. Like, you pick up on the subtle changes that this person makes, and Naruto figured out very quickly, like, oh, Shikamaru's trying to play me. And so you get one of these moments where Naruto in the past would just went straight to Shikamaru's doorstep. Nah, Naruto's like, okay, I'm gonna lay out a little rope and I'm gonna let you hang yourself. And so what you end up getting is that after they get the report that like Boruto was the one that rescued Tento, and that Boruto, Sarada, and Mitsuki eventually brought down Shojoji and had him brought back to the village, you know, they think all's well that ends well, right? Well, Naruto goes off on Shikamaru at this point. Like, Shikamaru is kind of withholding exactly why, and Naruto gives him one more opportunity to kind of tell him why he did what he did, and Shikamaru is like, yeah, I just need you to set up a meeting with the feudal lord. I know we just met with them, but situations change, and Naruto says, I know what you've been doing, man. You had intel that the Mujina bandits were trying to kidnap Tento, and what that shows you right there is that like Naruto might have actually read the report but thought that Shikamaru had it handled. That's something that could have been a possibility. I lean more so onto the side that like Naruto just kind of figured out what Shikamaru was doing, because what Naruto says is that like, yo, I know that's what you were planning, and I'm a lot better at strategy and tactics than I was when I was younger. And Shikamaru kind of says like, look, if you knew that's what I was doing, then you knew that I had the village's best interest at heart. And so you kind of see these two clash for a little bit, and they get into a pretty heated back and forth discussion. Naruto saying like, look, for all that scheming that you did, you're playing with the child's life. We don't do stuff like that in my administration. You know, Shikamaru's thinking more so in the ways like Hiruzen and Sarutobi, Hiruzen would have made that call. Danzo would have made that call. Tobirama would have made that call. That's not something that Naruto would have done. And Naruto lets him know that he's not happy about that at all. And so what you end up getting in this moment is that as they go back and forth, and Naruto's like, what would you have done if the feudal lord's son had died? Eventually, he would have found out that we had that intel and didn't act on it to protect his son. And Naruto's rightfully thinking about his village, because he's like, look, this guy bankrolls our village. We can't support ourselves by ourselves. If this guy cuts off funding, we've ruined the quality of life for the people in the village. What the fuck are you doing? That's kind of what Naruto's looking at right there. Like, Naruto's like, look, you're fucking with the money right now. So as they go back and forth, Shikamaru pulls out the cigarette and he's like, look, let's go up on the rooftop, man. Let's just talk it out up there. And this is where you see the true beauty in the Naruto and Shikamaru relationship. I've seen people say like, oh, this is out of character for Shikamaru, talk crazy. And Naruto's like, look, man, what you see right here is that you're in a situation where they go on the rooftop and they talk it out like grown ass men. Like, I know a lot of you guys are a lot on the younger side, but it's like, once you get into your mid and late 20s, it's one of those things to where like you can have disagreements. Like, I've had disagreements with my buddy Sean all the time. We don't agree on everything. We agree on a lot of stuff, but we don't agree on quite a few things. And there have been times where, this dude's like, look, man, I can't talk to you right now. And so you're kind of in a situation like that. You're kind of in a situation where, me and him would go days without speaking, but then when we meet up again, it's one of those things where we'll just talk for hours. Like we ain't never lost touch. And so it's the same thing. Naruto and Shikamaru. Shikamaru's taking a cigarette. He's smoking a cigarette. Him and Naruto are talking it out. And now we've gotten to a point where we see the true maturation of both Naruto and Shikamaru. So with all that finally being said, we're going to dive into the actual scene right here. And it's going to be here. I'm going to begin quoting, and then I'm going to come back. I'm going to give you my thoughts on what we actually went over. So it's here that I quote, "I've never been happier than I am now," Naruto replied. "You only say role model stuff like that now," Shikamaru sighed. "You used to be a lot more honest with yourself, Maybe," Naruto replied. They laughed, and then Shikamaru took a drag on the cigarette, which was now half ash. For all that I've weighed down now, thinking about all these exhausting and annoying hassles, I'm way better at strategizing than I used to be. I think up new tactics and plans that would never have occurred to me before. It's not like I get scared and freeze up. I've lived more life, so now I can see and play the best moves," Shikamaru said. "When you talk so confidently, I can almost believe you're right about anything," Naruto remarked. "At the very least, I think I'm right," Shikamaru said. He crushed a cigarette and dropped into the circular ashtray. Even after he was done smoking, however, neither man moved to leave from the roof. "Hey Naruto," Shikamaru said, "I'm absolutely not giving up. We have to avoid war above all else," Shikamaru said. "I'm right there with you," the Hokage nodded. "It's a very delicate road, like walking across thin ice. We can't worry about how things look. And some of this stuff is bound to mess us up. You might have to play a couple of cards you hate. Even so, you have to trust me. I'm not giving up on peace, right up until the bitter end. I don't want Boruto and Shikadai to have to go through the stuff of Asuma and Neji's time," Shikamaru said. "Got it," Naruto replied. Shikamaru felt a warm hand on his back. "I trust you," Naruto said. "You turned out to be a real Hokage," Shikamaru said, and put another cigarette in his mouth. He lit it quickly and exhaled the smoke. "You're smoking more." Naruto pursed his lips and waved the smoke away from his face. Pretending not to notice, Shikamaru replied with a grin. "It's a celebration cigarette for getting the last hassle crossed off the list, Wait, whoa! Naruto waved his hands in protest. "You actually put more hassles on this list though," Naruto said. "So this isn't cause we got more hassles then. That's not even an excuse." "I guess not." Smiling, Shikamaru finished the second cigarette and then started a counterattack. "Here you are giving me flack for smoking, but aren't you going out for ramen a lot more than before you got married? You're using late night work as an excuse to go to Ichiraku, like every day. You gotta face facts. Friend, we're both getting to the age where you get a belly. And a fat Hokage, that's not a great look." End quote. So what I like right here is that immediately after this, right? Naruto's like, "Man, well, I train when I get the opportunity to," and Shikamaru looks at him and says, basically, "Fam, you can't out-train a bad diet. You going out to Ichiraku ramen every night, eventually you're going to get fat." And when you really think about it, when he says there's never been a fat Hokage, when you really think about it, there's never been a fat Hokage. All of them have been in shape. I knew it. I was waiting because Naruto eats so much fucking ramen. I was like, eventually this man's going to get diabetes. He not just sitting there making good home cooked meals, and Naruto's like, "Yeah, baby, I got to work in the Hokage office a little late. I'll see you later." And then this man hangs up the phone and goes down to Ichiraku ramen and eats some Ichiraku ramen. Jesus Christ, Naruto, you gotta do better, fam. But this is the thing though, right? This shows you the complexity of their relationship, because Naruto puts his hand on Shikamaru's back and he's telling him "Look, I don't always agree with you, but I know that you have the village's best interests at heart. I trust you." But this is also Naruto, based on the earlier dialogue, letting Shikamaru know I'm also watching you. I trust you, but I'm watching you. And if I think that you're doing something where you're crossing a line, I'll give you the opportunity to fix it. But at the same time, if I see that it's going too far off the rails, I will step in. And so that's your first sign right there, where you're seeing Naruto as a Hokage, where Naruto's like, "Look, I want to avoid war as much as you do, but we're going about this in a different way. You're crossing lines that I would never cross." And so you're really seeing in this instant right here that essentially these two men are at a bit of a standstill at this point, because Shikamaru is telling them there are times where you're going to have to play cards you don't want to have to play, but Naruto still kind of hangs on to the thing that, like, if we speak to him, we can talk things out. We can avoid the nastier conflicts if we go down this route. And so you're kind of seeing the two men, even though they talked it out and they're laughing and they're yucking it up, neither man's really budged off of their previous stance, but at the same time, on some grown man shit, both of them are kind of like, look, our friendship is more important than these petty squabbles that we're having right now. All this stuff will work itself out in the end. And so I like that you kind of see that support system right there, and that you see that little bit of the actual friendship. So I want to know from you guys, who do you guys actually side with? Is Naruto right for actually looking at Shikamaru and saying, not only did you put a child's life in danger, but you almost got our entire village defunded? Is Naruto right that that was too great of a risk? Obviously, the risk that Tento be killed, and then the risk of what can happen to Konoha. And then the second question I have is Shikamaru right? Is the means something that justify the end? Let me know down in the comment section below. But as always, guys, if you like anything I had to say, don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. Have an awesome day, guys.